and points per inch, or pixels per inch. The difference between dots per inch and pixels per inch is this. Pixels per inch is what we're used to working with in digital imagery because it's talking about pixels, square pixels on a screen. So you're talking about resolution of a video, resolution of a digital image. Dots per inch, or DPI, is referred to print. Okay, so a printed photo. So you're talking about dots as far as like how many dots per inch a printer is putting on a piece of paper, kind of like pointillism in the style of pointillism. That's how it's printed. And those are the number of dots per inch, dots of ink on a paper or on the print per inch, so DPI. So let me show you a quick visual on DPI. When talking about DPI or dots per inch and pixels per inch, the concept is the same. Let's talk about how the different number of dots per inch or pixel per inch can make a difference in your image quality. Let's take a look. Here I have an image of a flower, and here we're at 5 dots per inch or pixels per inch. And you can see in this particular case, it looks like pixels because they're square, right? Dots per inch are probably going to be more circular because they're like dots of ink. So DPI, PPI, it's all the same in this particular case. You can see that maybe 5 pixels per inch or dots per inch is what we see here. It's very rough. We don't have much for detail, but it is very rough. So let's take a look now further on. So here we are, 72 dots per inch or 72 pixels per inch is great for screen and web, so computer screens and web-based imagery. This is a good application for that. Now, in this particular large file like this, you can see the edges are very rough. You see more detail than in the 5 dots per inch than you do, here at the 72. However, you do see some rough edges. You're not getting complete detail. Now, the good thing about this is if your image is really small, it will work great for a web-based because it doesn't take long to load because there's not as much detail in this particular image. If there is a lot of detail, you're going to want to increase the number of dots per inch or pixels per inch on your image. However, if there is not a lot of detail, you might be able to get away with fewer pixels per inch and save some data and save some space, which will increase the upload time, refresh rate on a website. So here we have a lot of detail. 72 dots per inch or pixels per inch, especially with a large photo like this, probably isn't going to be a good idea. So let's go to the next one. So here we are at large print with little detail. So we've got 150 dots per inch, so we've gone from 72 to 150, and you can see there's more detail. The edges are more crisp on the edge of our flower. We're getting more detail in the center of our photo. However, it still is a little muddy. It still is a little pixely, especially with this large image. This 150 DPI on a high resolution image is good for a large print with very little detail. So if you're not doing a picture of like a macro shot of a flower, but maybe you've got a large landscape or something where there's a lot of stuff in the distance where you've got a lot of blur going on. Something like this at 150 DPI might be a good idea. All right, finally 300 DPI or 300 pixels per inch. This is usually where I sit with my photos. As you can see in this image, you've got a lot more detail. The edges of that flower are really crisp and clean. And you can see a lot more detail going on in the center of our image. You can see the fuzziness of the center of our flower here, and you get a lot more detail there. So this is great again for large print with something that has a lot of detail, like a macro shot of, say, a hummingbird or a bumblebee, or in this case a flower. And you want to make that big. 300 dots per inch or pixels per inch would be great to keep all of that detail, and you're not losing quality in that. Now, you can see I've not scaled the image. All I've changed was the resolution, or the dots per inch, basically, or the number of pixels per inch that you see. So I've changed the level of detail in the image without changing the scale of it. I'm not changing the aspect ratio or anything like that. I've just changed the number of pixels per inch that you see. This will help you optimize your files for whether it's web, online viewing, streaming, games. If you're creating texture for games, you want to know how to do that. Again, your smaller image will help your game refresh more because you're taking that texture, multiplying it, and there's all sorts of things with gaming that you could do with that. But I hope this helps with your photography and your any of the projects you're working on. Until next time, I'll see you in class.